Hey, what's up guys? So today I wanted to go ahead and make a video and say goodbye to Magic Legends. So this was a newer action RPG that is still currently in the beta, but it's actually going to be shut down, I guess, before it's even finally launching. You guys can see in the very bottom right that it says that the servers will be shut down on October 31st. But now it might be actually a good time to go ahead and check out the game if you guys didn't like the microtransactions that did exist, because the Zen purchases are disabled. They're actually going to be refunding people for that. And on top of that, the store has been converted to Aether, which is a form of in-game currency. So now might be a good time to go ahead and hop in. But what I wanted to do with this video, since the game is like shutting down, is I wanted to revisit the game. And I started off with a new character, and I'm using the Epic's client versus using the previous client that it was used for, like the earlier access, because I had access to this game before the open beta, and a lot of the things that existed still kind of exist. Like the characters don't have like their mouths move during the cutscenes, or certain things like the frame rate drop is still an issue with the game. But I wanted to hop in and give you guys some gameplay of the game like now, before it goes away, and I kind of wanted to check out the game again and go over like the reasons why that this game perhaps didn't really make it, as the game is shutting down. You know, obviously that usually has to do with player retention rate. On top of that, you know, as a free-to-play game, they need to make money somehow, and it's interesting to see that the game is just going away. Again, this is still considered in the beta phase of the game, and it's just kind of weird that the game didn't actually ever launch. But at the same time, I got burnt out with this game when it came out, and I wanted to go ahead and give you guys my reasons, and also kind of just talk a little bit about, like, you know, action RPGs here, because I love action RPGs. That's probably why a lot of you guys subscribe to my channel for either Diablo or Path of Exile, or heck, if you maybe subscribe for Fortnite content, as I do like to play a lot of different games. So first off, in terms of like what this game did for the action RPG genre that was new, so you see right now I have this skill called Earth Spike. If I use it, it'll go away. And, you know, you normally think, okay, that's on cooldown. It's just, you know, going on cooldown. But it's not actually how it works. Now I have another skill called Earth Elemental. So normally when I'm pushing one, I would think that, you know, it's like that specific skill, but these skills rotate. And I have like a deck of cards, as this is Magic the Gathering, it's a card game. So it's interesting to see that they decided to go ahead and make it so you have a bunch of skills that you technically equipped on your character, but you get random skills, and that's kind of where the creativity for this game is, which is an interesting concept. And I'll show you guys like the inventory and stuff like that, but that's the big thing with this game. Now, it was criticized for having this, like in terms of like its design, right? Because if you have an ability that's like a dodge or something to interact, whether it's a leap attack or a defensive ability, if your brain thinks that if I push this button, that's what it does, and it's not there because it's random, you'll have to look at the icons. So the game was heavily criticized on this. But we also have two other abilities that, like, this one's going to be a Leap Slam, and this one will not rotate. It's called Furious Leap, and then Volcanic Fury. These won't change. These are always going to be on our character. Now, in terms of the customization, we'd have to go to the library. This is a newer character, so I'm not going to have a bunch of different skills. What I wanted to do with this is originally like check out some of the cutscenes, and that's why I'm on a newer character. But the same issue exists where like the frame rates during the cutscenes are kind of like not like up to par. But you know, the game's a beta. I'm not going to criticize the cutscenes in the game. I mean, the biggest thing with an action RPG is how good is the loot, right? So in terms of like the skills, you can rank them up, and it's going to increase the numbers, like the numerical values on most of these as you will be ranking them up. But and you're just going to be getting like extras of like the same skill, and you'll be able to rank them up. But what it comes down to is these are the skills, and we equip them, and then it randomly rotates in between them. That's where the game has its like interesting like new mechanics for this. Also, when we level up in this game, we're going to be getting some extra skills or passive abilities that we will be able to get, which I think is kind of interesting that there's only, you know, up to like level 30, and they're spaced like every 5-ish levels as you start progressing. But I feel like they could have really used a better like skill tree or a way for players to feel like there is something to work towards that your like build is going to be different. I think their idea was perhaps in the different deck choices. Now there is some complexity here. Like right now I don't have any of like the green spells or the other ones because I just started out on this newer character here, but you can change them, and depending on what you have in your deck is going to be what mana cost, which is basically right here where it'll say like red. We have a total of 12, and that's the amount of like mana we have for those skills, because certain ones will cost certain like mana types, which is cool for Magic the Gathering. But I think that if this was the biggest problem of the game, like in terms of like why it's not successful, is just due to like your skills moving around, because this is a huge part of it. I don't think that that was the reason why this game was unsuccessful. I think that this could be an easy change too. They just make it so like you equip your skills on a skill bar, and this is kind of just how it worked. If that was a problem, like I said, I think that that's an easy fix, and I don't think that it's just that. I think it came down to the game being way too repetitive without adding enough incentivization for the player to continue playing. Like within the first hour-ish of this game, you get burnt out. I would say an average player can get burnt out relatively quick, as I play a lot of action RPGs, and the thing that keeps people going is the loot. When you get loot in this game, kind of how it works is that you'll be getting more modifiers. Like I only have one item right now in our equipment category, and I'll actually show you guys some itemization in a moment here, but you'll see that this over here is just like, it has like an innate like ability that we can't change, but then there's also other things we can upgrade, and we can change one of these, and it's gonna cost something. By the way, sorry if you hear fireworks, it's the 4th of July here at the moment of me making this video. But in addition with that, I want to go ahead and show you guys more equipment, because again, this is a new character, so I'm not going to be able to show you guys like all the equipment. But pretty much what it comes down to is like, if you've played any action RPG, you've probably seen like the inventory screen where you get to see like all of your stuff. And like this is a little bit earlier of an iteration where like some of the things are moved around a little bit, but basically it's the same concept. Over here, you'll see that you'll get whatever ability that it has on it, then you can swap. And what you do when you get newer items is it unlocks more things that you can swap into. So it's more streamlined when you get like the same item, so to speak. You're going to be getting more things to basically change. And I like the idea of an item drops. I want to see it. I want to see all the modifiers and be like, is this better than what I have? And then I equip it, versus the system that they did have in the game, which again, it's interesting that the way that they have this system. And I think this system is kind of cool for the inventory system. Now going into these other things in the game, there's also these things called artifacts. Can we go back actually a second here? Actually, they'll show off. Okay, they're showing off some of the things that you can modify, and you can see over here, this is, I believe they're called mythics, and some of them will do more interesting things. You can see this one over here. Whenever you're at full health, you have, whenever you deal damage, a 25% chance to taunt all nearby foes. So there is some play with some of the abilities. It's not just like more stats, which I applaud them for, because in terms of action RPGs, I like that. There's also this whole system called the artifacts, where you'd have like lesser ones, but the main one is going to be the legendary one. And like this one over here, as it has a rank also tied to it, when a creature you control dies for the first time, it resurrects with 28% of its hit points and gains lifelink. So there are certain things in the game where it did add a little bit more complexity, so I like that. I think this is kind of cool. But I think that the items really needed to like kind of drop, and you should be able to compare them in an inventory system that's more similar to, let's say, Diablo or Path of Exile. So people that, you know, really like action RPGs can feel kind of at home. And I feel like the skill tree definitely, or this, it's not even a skill tree, it just kind of exists as you get skills as you progress. But one thing that I do want to applaud them for is the customization. I think that this was kind of cool. This is over on like the official Magic the Gathering channel. For Magic Legends, but I liked it. I thought it was kind of cool. Another thing that I felt like this game got criticized heavily for, I personally didn't mind that they had this little setup. A lot of people thought that this was a mobile game where like you had like your skills very, very large, and like, you know, that's exactly where your thumb would be. Maybe their goal was to make this game able to be ported over to mobile. That doesn't bother me. I think the main core thing with the game is really when you got the loot. And on top of that, some of the ways that they implemented in unlocking certain other classes in the game. Like, for example, this is the Demir Assassin, and like how you unlock it, let me go ahead and actually show this off. because this is going to be in-game via the battle pass. So if I wanted to play this class, right, like right now might be a good time to play the game, because if you want to play the game, you can just hop in and actually, you know, play the game without having to worry about like any potential like, you know, microtransactions, because there are none. So you can get the assassin at the level 50 of the battle pass, so you do still have to like technically grind that out. But I think that, like, you know, when someone hops into the game, they're like, I really want to play this class, and then like, oh wait, hold on, you have to unlock it. It definitely feels kind of bad, and it makes people go, oh, I don't know. Like, it is definitely something that people would criticize, and that's, you know, expected. But it is a free-to-play game. They need to make money somehow, and technically, yeah, it's free if you just grind it out. But I think that this game, in terms of like other things that held it back, because that's what I wanted to really focus in on for this video, is when you hit an enemy, there's like a certain sense of feedback that doesn't exist. I'm gonna skip all the cutscenes. I just want to play this game for like 15 minutes here, and just kind of talk about, you know, what went wrong with this game. As I liked the game like initially with its concept, but I think in the execution of like when you hit enemies, I would like there to be a little bit more feedback. I mean, some of the skills like that one, it knocks them up. That's kind of cool, right? I think for the complexity, it would have been really cool to see if you would activate one skill that it would chain into other things, right? So if I hit one, I would activate it, and then if you guys maybe play like Aeon or other games where you can combo one skill into another, that could have been cool for complexity as well. I just think that one huge part of it was the loot that would drop and some of the questing. It was really rough to go ahead and actually play this game and go through the questing. At least for me personally, it was a real easy burnout, where a lot of the quests would be go here, talk to this guy, or like do this. It just felt like busy work. And I think that one thing that could have helped the game out a lot is that you have someone talking with you the whole time, kind of like explaining the story and stuff like that. A little bit more like hand-holdy, like a campaign that you would get from, let's say, Diablo 3. That's a really great example as like an early entry action RPG, as you basically have a follower, they talk with you, you have other people that talk to you when you like go back into town, and it kind of explains, you know, what you're doing next, not just go over to this zone. I probably don't even have like, let me see if I have like the, this is like a, okay, there's like a map. There's actually a pretty big map. Oh, can we not click on it? Oh, okay. So like, I guess since I haven't unlocked it on this account, I can't go and show you guys. But basically, a lot of the quests are like, go here, do this. It's like defend this area, and a lot of times it feels relatively repetitive, without what I would consider a big drive for the person to continue playing, because the loot in this game, it just doesn't feel like an action RPG where you're like consistently progressing in the game in the direction that I would like to progress. And what I mean by that is a lot of the things, technically in action RPGs, yeah, it is kind of a numbers game, but I think that it could feel a little bit more impactful. And what I mean by that, in a second, I'll show you when I go ahead and kill these enemies. When you get a skill like leveled up, it basically increases the numerical values, right? Let me make this. Let me kill this guy, because when we're in the screen, it's not going to pause. So if I go to the library over here, and I look at some of the skills, these like numerical values will change. I think it would be a little bit more interesting if some of the other things would change. If you guys have played Diablo 2, some of the skills modify at certain like intervals. You get like more of that ability. Like if you throw like a charged bolt, you'll get more charged bolts, or different things to have maybe even synergies. Like, I think the complexity in this game could be a lot bigger. In addition with what I mentioned before, where it's just like the numerical values changes as you increase your rank, you can get more skills and mix and match them, which is kind of cool with all these different elements, which adds a little bit more complexity, and so I applaud them for that. But it's really going out to like I think it's, if we go to our class over here, we go level up, like there's not that many things here. Like if someone else is playing a Geomancer, they're pretty much going to have what I would consider like the same thing. I think what would have been cool in this game is to have like an ascendancy to really change things up for the game. Like you had like some like end game, I want to become a Geomancer. I guess your idea is really the deck with the complexity, but I think that it would have been cool to have like an actual skill tree that you would invest points into, maybe even stat points. These are the things that I think people look for in an action RPG, because like I said, I think that it comes down to more than just this. I know this is a heavily part of its criticism, but that's easily changeable with the idea of like, if I activate this skill right here, I want 1 to be Earth Spike and I want 2 to be Char, right? These 2 skills will always be here. Like this is always going to be Leap, which I think that that is so easy to change. And if it was constantly something that people would talk about, I don't know why they never really changed that. But I guess we'll never really see a version of it. Maybe they'll make a private server, some fan will make something cool with the assets in this game. But I think that this game got shut down too early. I think that they could have expanded upon the game, maybe changed some of the microtransactions and their business model, as I think it would have been really cool to see what else this game would have to offer, because there is still some cool ideas in this game with the like artifact system. They could have made like really powerful game-changing abilities, but again, I think that people got burnt out really fast by the gameplay, especially over on Twitch. The numbers dropped drastically within the first few days. But anyways, that's kind of my feedback for the game, and I wanted to say goodbye to it. But I still might actually upload more, because I kind of want to see how the game is with the progression system, as there's no like form of like, you know, pay to win anymore. It's just to actually play the game as it is shutting down. So it's going to be kind of unfortunate when we lose your character, but I may upload more of this game. So if you guys are new here and you do want to see more content with this game, hit subscribe and turn on that bell, and you'll definitely see more later down the line. I kind of want to get to like what I consider end game of this, but I'm curious to know if you guys played this game, or if you stopped playing this game, you know, what was your reasoning behind it? For me, it just felt like the main storyline quest was way too repetitive. I wish I could show you some of like the quests in here, but like it was like, go here, do this. It didn't feel like some of the quests that you would have in like Diablo 2 or even Path of Exile, where you'd stand on something and you'd like move like this little like totem. Like, I just feel like they could have added a lot more to like the base campaign to keep people interested in the game. Again, it would have been cool to have like a follower. Maybe when you play with your friends, it could be something completely different, but when I play with people, the game was even more laggier than it already was, which was another point of its criticism. But optimization is something that I expect to be, you know, maybe not perfect in like, you know, earlier betas or alphas of a game, but I definitely feel like this game could have offered a lot more in terms of like the creativity with some of the, you know, depth that exists in the game. But again, those are my thoughts. You guys can let me know yours down below. But thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you on the next video. Have a good one, and I'm signing out, and goodbye, Magic Legends. Although I still probably will upload a couple more bits on this game. Anyways, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.